Welcome back to Straight Facts on Friday. Brilliant panel for you today. Staffy, Don, Lawless is back with us again. Loads to talk about on the show from Nico Williams. Should Ronaldo retire from international football? We're gonna be pressing. We're gonna be Gurgen pressing Don today on the quality of this Chelsea squad, especially up front, and get his opinions on that as well. A big shout out to our title sponsors, Fan Team. And remember, next Friday, we will be doing the draft picks, okay, for the EPL final sprint fantasy game where you can win your share of £20,000. So if you want to get yourself set up with an account and you want to get ready for that big draft pick next week that us four will be doing, scan the QR code on the screen now or click on the link in the live chat and get yourself signed up now to a free account at Fan Team, ready to do that. But gentlemen, how are you all?
Good to be back. Good to be back, mate.
Where the hell were you, Lawless? Where were you?
Where was I? I was out. I was out of London, man. I was working
2 weeks.
out of London. No, it just happened to be like it both fell on a Friday, like, so I wasn't there for 2 weeks. But the course I was running was on a Friday. It was Thursday, Friday.
All right, so we just carried the show with
trainer now. He's a trainer now, bro. He's a trainer, big boy trainer now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Running courses, you know what I mean? Imparting wisdom and knowledge, like I do here every Friday.
Wait, training what? Training what?
Come on,
Training what?
Look, cameras, filming, all that business.
Okay.
Yeah, mate. You know what I mean? Listen, I ain't got the fanciest looking camera for no reason. So there we go. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm back to this. This week, I'm so when Terry and KJ started putting this Chelsea stuff in the chat, I was like, "Oh, Don's gonna be on the ropes today, mate. He's got a lot to answer for."
Mate, I'm not going to be on the ropes. I agree with a lot of it, man. And I've been telling you a lot about it.
Really?
He's been telling us about your squad being bad when you've said it's better than Liverpool's. Fuck off.
Hey, Liverpool squad, mate. They got 4 goals. Them players have got what, 4 goals between them. You know what
I know what you're doing already. I'm calling it. You're going to lower everyone's standards and win the micro tennis competition. That's what he's going to do.
Got it right.
We've got loads to jump into today. The first thing I wanted to talk about is international based, because I saw a lot of people talking about this yesterday. There's a tweet that went out that went viral. I know I was watching Denmark-Portugal last night. You were right, Staffy. I did see your tweet, by the way. I didn't respond to it last night. I was hoping to see Bruno have a good game. He didn't. But we actually saw Rasmus look really good when he came on. Genuinely, he looked really good.
I just knew you were watching because you was hoping Bruno does something. Rasmus scored in the Twitter, but I was like, no, bro, I'm not buying that. You didn't watch for Rasmus. No one watches international games for Rasmus.
Honestly, on a real level, I always look at the international game that's on, and I think, well, which one has the most United involvement? And I looked at that with Bruno and thought, let's give it a watch. But I was partly watching to see whether his goal would give him a little bit more confidence. And listen, they weren't playing scrubs last night. They're playing Portugal, and he looked great. He could have scored a couple of goals, but his finish was very, very good. And I'm shameless with this. Whether he has a future at Man United or not is irrelevant to me right now. I'm focused on, can he get into a run of form, have a purple patch to help our season? So fingers crossed. But after the match, there was a big talking point that kind of came up. And a lot of it stemmed from this tweet, and a lot of people were talking about it. And it was that Portugal will not achieve anything if they keep starting a 40-year-old Ronaldo. They need to move on. I mean, you can see with the interactions, the comments, the retweets, the likes, the bookmarks on this. I love Cristiano Ronaldo, but is it time that Portugal move on?
Can I start on this? Because I actually watched the game. I was doing a watch along for yesterday. So I have a lot to say on it. If Cristiano Ronaldo actually loves this country, just please retire. I genuinely mean this. I don't mean this is not to rage bait anyone. This is not to attack any Ronaldo lovers or whatever it is. I'm really not doing that. I watched the full 90 yesterday, and I'm telling you right now, if Cristiano Ronaldo actually cares for his country and he wants him to win something, he needs to take a step back. Whether that is him accepting that he should only be on the bench, or whether that's him by retiring internationally, one of those two things need to happen. It doesn't help that they don't have a good striker backup for him, but probably that's an issue that you can solve on another day. That's
don't they have the guy from they've got the guy from PSG, bro.
Yeah, but he's mid. Gonzalo Ramos, he's mid. But that's the point of me saying that. I've watched 90 minutes yesterday, and I generally mean this when I say this. When I was interacting with my chat at halftime, I generally told them I forgot Ronaldo was on the pitch. Like, wallahi, I'm not joking. I forgot he was on the pitch. He is genuinely he's pointless. There's no point of him on the pitch.
Can I put it into some English terms for a second? I don't know if you'd have this expression in the States or even internationally. When we grew up playing football in the playground, there was no offsides, right? And there was always this guy that was what you used to call a goal hanger, where they would just stay up the other end of the pitch. They wouldn't help the team out. They'd always be by the other end of the pitch. And Ronaldo is turning into, now that he can't run, he looks like a goal hanger. He's just up the other end, very immobile, just waiting to pick up some scraps that might present themselves. Back to you.
You know, so funny before you come in as well, Staffy. Those guys were always the guys that were trying to take all the glory, right? Because they'll let the best guy on the team run through everyone and they go hanging, like what Terry's saying, yeah, and they'll just tap it in. And that's exactly what Ronaldo was trying to do, bro.
He's a cherry picker. That's what they call him. He's cherry picking. When you stand up front and just wait for the ball so you can just try to score a goal. But here's the thing. He's not even doing this right now. Like, this is why everything he does in the Saudi league, like, no disrespect to the Saudi league, but there's levels to this. You cannot go from bagging goals in the Saudi league. Most of them are penalties from what I'm hearing anyways, and then come to Europe and expect to perform well. Now, first of all, Roberto Martinez hype. That Portugal team also will not get forward with Roberto Martinez because he sucks. Like, he had a midfield of Vitinha, Bruno, and Neves look trash. They got dominated by Homeland, Eriksson. I forgot who else started in that midfield. That whole game, I promise you, it was 1-0. But if Denmark won like 4-0, you shouldn't be surprised. Diogo Costa actually kept them in the game, saving penalties, clearing balls off the line. That Portugal team was getting dominated. So the coach by himself, he needs to go. I think the only reason he's even in the job is because he calls up Ronaldo. But Ronaldo is just generally useless, bro. Like, I'm sorry to tell you guys this. At what point do you have some self-awareness and say, look at this team, look at this midfield that I have, look at some of the talent that's on the pitch. I mean, like, generally, look at some of the talent is on that pitch right now for Portugal. You got decent fullbacks in Nuno Mendes, you got Dalot, you got Cancelo. Did Cancelo get called up? I think he was on the bench. You got center backs, maybe not the best. Your boy Viega yesterday was giving away a penalty done, but you got Diaz, you got the Andre guy, you got Diogo Costa in goal, you got the midfield that I already mentioned, and even the attackers are probably not the worst, but you still have Leao, you have Neto. There is decent players in this team. Like, this is arguably the best Portugal team I've seen Ronaldo play for, but he is the worst version of himself that we've seen over the last 20 years. And I'll be honest with you, he's just going to go to the World Cup just for vibes. It's just going to be his send-off. Yeah, like he's served his country for this long. He won a Euros with them. This is his goodbye tour. But, bro, he didn't score in the last World Cup, and I promise you he won't score in this one either. I think he scored one penalty goal. He should just need to.
He probably won't start. He's starting on a regular in the World Cup.
He won't start the Lawless. That's the issue.
Lawless. Even before he got dropped by Ten Hag at United, bro, you can see this guy is like. And the thing is, it's not even disrespect here. It's more, bro, have some self-awareness. You're nearly 40. Like, cool, I hear you've got this echo chamber you go into after games to help yourself and whatnot. That's why you're even still playing football.
Oxygen chamber. Oxygen chamber.
Yeah, oxygen chamber. You've got a chamber and whatnot, you go into and that, which helps you. But, bro, you either die a hero, right, or live long enough to see yourself become a villain, bro. It's as simple as that with this guy, bro. You know, it's very similar to what happened with Wenger, because Wenger should have left when Arsenal beat Hull in the final. But this guy decided to stay on, and in the end, he ended up getting sacked. You know what I mean? I don't care if
There's no version of Wenger as a coach that is as bad as Ronaldo is right now.
I hear that, but the point that I'm making, the point that I'm making, Staffy, right, is that you've got to respect yourself and know that there's a cutoff point at some point. Wenger, if he left a lot sooner, I think he wouldn't have had as many people turning. But now you're seeing more and more people turning with Ronaldo because they're looking at it and it's like, yo, this guy's finished. You know what I mean? He's finished at this level, bro. He can't be playing anymore. You know what I'm saying? So he's got.
I think we're putting too much. I think we're putting too much on Ronaldo with this, man. Like, it's all, Ronaldo needs to realize Ronaldo shouldn't be playing. He needs to stop. The thing is, at the end of the day, like, he is a world-class athlete. He believes in him. He has the mentality and the belief in himself. I'm getting picked for my country. As long as I can do this, I'm gonna play to the best of my ability. We shouldn't be looking at Ronaldo. It's the who picks him. So it's the manager, the coaches,
But that's why they got rid of the other manager, Lawless. Did you forget that?
What's
the
that?
other manager? I forgot his name. The one that benched him in the Euros, or sorry, the World Cup. I forgot his name. They got rid of him, and then they got Roberto Martinez. And Roberto Martinez just started playing him every game. Did we forget that 2 years ago this guy was starting to get benched and his team was winning without him? Like this is nothing.
This is what I'm saying. What we're saying is, well, Ronaldo should remove himself. Ronaldo should do this. Well, look at the people that pick him, and I think the Portuguese FA as well are ones that they don't want to lose Ronaldo. He is the poster boy. He's a god in their country. When they have all these friendlies, who are people coming to see? Who are they selling tickets for to go and see all of these international friendlies and these qualifiers? Like, so I think there's a big part of Portugal don't want to let Ronaldo go.
I agree. It's a big mixture. I love Cristiano Ronaldo. He's always going to be a hero. He's always going to be a great. What he's become doesn't destroy or undo what he was before. He can't run and dribble and create and score and do the things he used to do because he's 40 years of age. I also think that there comes a point when look, he's an amazing athlete to still be in and around this level at 40 years of age. But let us not pretend that in his last year or so at Man United, he was still scoring goals, but there was elements that he couldn't do in the modern game. He couldn't press with the team, as an example. He couldn't do it, and we can't rewrite history and pretend that he could. On top of that, which I think is also every bit as important to focus on, is that he might actually be more beneficial to a team coming on for the last 15, 20 minutes when, yes, he's 40, but he's fresh, and he's up against younger but tired legs. The fact that he's starting at the same time, as the game goes on, yes, if he gets an opportunity to score from a good bit of positioning, he'll put it away because his finishing touch will probably be the last thing that goes, if it ever goes, right? We see players on Soccer Aid that are 50 that still have a good strike on them, right? But it's getting into those positions, and there'll even be a point soon where he'll see an opening and he won't be able to get there. His body won't enable him to. And I actually agree with you, Lawless. I think this is where the Portuguese FA, the coach, and everybody surrounding this situation should be looking at it and saying, we have got to make a move here. Still be part of the squad, still be part of the leadership group, still be on the bench, still come on and help out. But the fact that he's starting games, for me, that is hugely.
Bro, I won't be surprised if he's even managing the team himself, bro. Like, we saw what he was doing when he got injured. What was it, 2016? It was 2016, isn't it?
All these theatrics on the sideline, bro. I mean, don't even get me started on how overrated that Euros was.
Yeah, like
it just pisses me off.
Obviously, it's one of them ones where, like, you're talking about one of the greatest players that we've seen. You know, like, who the hell is Martinez to him? You know what I mean? Who the hell is Roberto to him, bro? So he's got too much control in it. He's got too much control in this team. And yeah, like what Lawless is saying, commercially, it's hard to get rid of this guy. But yeah, he needs to just say, listen, I'm going to retire now, but I'm still going to come to the tournaments. I'm still going to show my face. You know, even before games, if you need me to come out to just wave at people so you can get paid and whatnot, I'll do all of that. But on the pitch, bro, it's like playing with 10 men, like what you're saying, Staffy, bro. He needs to cut. He needs to cut, man. That's what he wants. He wants these 1,000 goals, bro.
He's 70 goals away, bro. That's why he's gonna keep doing that. Just stop that in the Saudi league and just respect what your nation's trying to do and just move on. That's all I'm trying to say, bro. And this is the part where everyone's gonna start saying I'm hating and this and that. It is the truth. I'm sorry to tell you that. It is the truth. He's at a level right now. You fluked that Euros that you barely contributed in, and this is a conversation that always pisses off people. They always tell me, "Oh, but go up. That he did this, he did that. Go look, go again. Listen, that Euros where he watched, right? And I don't want to divert to the conversation to that. Just go look who had the most GA in the team that season. It wasn't even him. It wasn't even him. He had as many goals as Luis Nani, and we never say Nani carried that team to winning that Euros. You got your Euros. Just when is enough, bro? When is enough? You've had a great career. You've lived up to. You played until you're 40. He's trying to do the LeBron James where he's trying to wait for his son so he can play with him on the same team. I think his son is too young for that to happen. Just get your 1,000 goals and that's it, bro. But if you genuinely care for your country, this is why I started with this. If you genuinely care for your country and you care for Portugal, just take a step back and say, listen, I will be here I can't do the things. I'm not at the peak of my powers no more. I can't do things at the level that I used to, but I'll try to do something. And if that something is by me just being a squad player, I'll do it. Or if that thing is just by me being there and in my presence being there, but not actually playing 90 minutes, then so be it. But his ego was too good for him to do that. He will never accept that role.
Yeah, yeah. Look, Martinez hasn't got the balls to do it, and the FA don't. But this is where I think it's. Listen, I agree with you, Lawless, but they're not going to do it for one reason or another. This is where maybe someone needs to get in his ear, and maybe it's somebody like Sir Alex Ferguson rings him up because I actually think there's only probably in this world 5 to 10 people that Ronaldo would listen to and say, okay, I'm taking what you're saying seriously. His mum, look, I wouldn't even say his missus because he said they ain't clicked still. So although that was just code for I ain't married, I'm not doing no contract with my money, bro. That's 100% why they're not married. But yeah, look, I just feel I'm not a hater of Ronaldo, and some of these fanboys will probably be watching this back and saying we are. I don't like to see him go out like this. It's a big concern and it's a big worry for me. But viewers, give us your thoughts. Give us your opinions in the comment section in relation to this. Say my name, says Rasmus. Yeah, it was a very good goal. He was very good yesterday. He was very, very good. Paul here.
Phil Jones.
The Terry on the terrace and the stand, big up. Yes, listen, if anyone's watching, was watching the United stand last night, big up to yourselves. It was a great show. It really was. English talent here says, oh, hang on. I always love English talent, Scott. What's he going to say here? He says, I quote, it's amazing that Højlund scored without Bruno and Portugal didn't. It's almost like the team matters, not guys who want to do everything on their own.
I mean, listen, I'll say this. The Danish team was much better than the Portuguese team yesterday, but under no circumstance should a midfield of Vitinha, João Neves, and Bruno be worse than the midfield that I saw from the Danish team. It was more of coaching, if anything. I'm not gonna lie. If anyone watched that game, I'm not. Everyone knows I'm not a Bruno fan, but honestly, if you watched that game and you thought that the reason Portugal didn't score was because of Bruno, you just watch football from a very difficult lens. And English time, if that's how you watch the game, there's no saving you. It really wasn't a Bruno issue. And let's say even last night was a Bruno issue. Let's just say it was in your world. If you're saying that Bruno tries to do everything for the team and it's all about him. Sorry, it's all about himself. Why, when he had a chance to shoot and score against Sociedad, did he square the ball for the penalty? Why in that game did Bruno have a couple of opportunities? I know he ended up scoring a hat-trick, right? But there was a number of opportunities where he could have had more shots, but he was trying to get a goal for Rasmus because the players know that Rasmus getting goals and growing in confidence will help the team, at least in the short term. So what I would say, I appreciate your opinion. He literally gave him an assist last game.
Yeah,
it was from Bruno.
I mean, he does. But he had that chance that was knocked over the top. Bruno could have taken a shot, but he didn't. He squared it for the tap in. And the only reason Rasmus didn't score is because he got fouled for a pen. So a selfish player would not have made that pass. There was also a time in the Champions League, I want to say it was against Atalanta, it might have been Villarreal, where Bruno was put through on goal. And instead of shooting like we all thought he would, he did a wonderful back heel for Ronaldo to score. That's not what a selfish player does, in my personal opinion. Who is going to say I am not selecting him or starting him? He's basically Portuguese football. As great as they have been, he hinders them recently. But that's the whole point, Joshua Jack. He shouldn't be Portuguese football. Portuguese football should be their team. And I just feel that they're never gonna have in our lifetime probably a player as good or better than Ronaldo, because they're 140 years deep in football and he's the best they've had. So the likelihood of again in the next 140 years beating that is very low based on probability. But you have to move on as a team because Brazil haven't had a striker as good as R9. You can't keep wheeling him out. There comes a point where you got to let go. There comes a point where you've got to let go. And it happened with it's happened with England with Lampard and Gerrard and Rooney. There comes a point where you have to stop picking them. And
even Kane. We was literally having conversations about Kane after the last the World Cup.
It's an uncomfortable conversation, man. All I'm gonna say is
Tuchel's picking Henderson. Why are we still picking Henderson in 2025? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
And he's not Ronaldo. Jordan Henderson's no Ronaldo. He's not like
you can't make an excuse for him.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. What did you boys make of what Tuchel said this week?
He said a lot.
About the big thing he said, the style of football, being too scared to play, too scared to lose, having.
Oh, you're right about that. He was spot on about that, bro. Because for me, you know, watching England under Southgate, especially that tournament last year, right? It was honestly like watching Chelsea, bro. It felt like I went from hell to even more hell, right? Because I'm seeing Declan Rice in not even Poch's island, in Southgate's island by himself. I'm seeing Manu fighting for his life in there. You know, I'm seeing Foden being played out of position. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Foden wasn't great in the 10 as well, but you're starting him on the right. He's not a winger. Played him on the left in certain games. You know what I mean? The team looking not to score first, like what Tuchel was saying, instead of actually going for it when you've got an attacking team. It was a shambles. You know what I mean? It was an absolute shambles. And listen, we kind of rolled our luck in terms of the teams that we got on our way to get into the final and the semi-final. If you go break it down, the World Cup and that, yeah, Terry, the teams that we beat, these are teams that we should have been beating, bro, right? Even last time, bro, like, you know, we were shit against, what team was it that Jude scored in the final minute of the game?
Slovakia.
Slovenia.
Slovenia or Slovakia, one of the two, yeah.
The XG was low in basically every single game, and we kept getting bailed out by moments of brilliance. That's what it was. It was more just let these guys play and try and find a moment of brilliance. But it doesn't work like that, bro. You still got to be able to have patterns like what Tuchel was saying, right? You've got to be able to attack properly. You've got to play people in their right positions. Yeah, why the hell was Duke playing as a 10 ahead of Palmer? Why did Palmer basically get no minutes apart from coming off the bench, right? And I know you're going to get some gooners saying, oh, Palmer shouldn't start. But Palmer and Saka should have been playing together, right? Every time Saka was playing with Palmer, you saw straight away his game was improving because Palmer was giving Saka what Odegaard gives to him on that side. You know, that connection. If you go back to the goal we scored against Spain in the final, right? Saka and Palmer and that, they linked up on that side, bro, right? Palmer comes on in the semi-final, he gets an assist, he still can't start. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that dinosaur's gone, and Tuchel was spot on when he talks about that, you know? But at the same time, I want Tuchel to actually put this into practice because he was doing some crazy stuff as well at Chelsea. You know what I mean? Tactically, right? People will say it was the personnel that he had, but he still brought in his own players like Sterling and whatnot, and we got worse. So let's see what he can do in it because he's got a lot of good players to pick from. But again, I'm still kind of reserved in my judgment. I know he won us the Champions League, but he's got faults as well. So let's see what he does in it. Let's see what.
Yeah, but some of his selection already worries me because not worries me in that way that I care, but like I'd be worried as a fan if I look at that.
Yeah.
Why is Kyle Walker being called up? Why is Jordan Henderson being called up? Walker's called up, yeah. Kyle Walker got called up.
I mean, the comment on the screen now from Ozzy Mendes, the fact that Gibbs White's been left out of the squad for today. You think about how good Gibbs White has been this season, and you actually look at the fact, I actually don't know who's in the full squad for today. I just say he got left out. But when you think about how poor, for instance, Palmer has been, as an example, on merit, Gibbs White should be involved in the team in some way, shape, or form tonight, in my personal opinion. I have been a little bit shocked by the squad selection so far, especially with Henderson and Walker. It's crazy.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, he's only brought Gibbs White on like a token gesture because Palmer pulled out because he's injured, right? That's the only reason why.
Palmer pulled out, right.
Yeah,
okay.
He's in the team just because of that.
Palmer's injured.
And even Jet Spence not making it. I look at how Tuchel used to play football for Chelsea. I'm like, Jet Spence would be your type of wingback or fullback, however he's going to set up and play. I'll be interested to watch, obviously, today. I just looked at that and I'm like, why are you calling up Walker? Why are you calling out Henderson? Why are you not calling up, as you said, Gibbs White? Listen, it's his first game. I think it's officially his first game. So I'm going to be interested to see what he's going to do. He needs time, obviously, so we won't judge him hard. But he needs to learn from the mistakes that the previous manager did. And what the previous manager did is he played a team that, I'm not going to lie, for the longest I felt like this English team should be going into most games as the favorite. But most times you went in and you had the underdog mentality. And I don't like that. I look at your team. There's no way this English team with the talent that he has, should he be playing that way. So the first thing he needs to do is when he comes in, because the World Cup is in a year. So he has about a year to prepare for it, a little bit over a year. Just put an identity in this team. Tell them this is how we're going to play. This is going to be our identity, and we're going to do it no matter what. Even if your game is not necessarily just all attacking, because that's not Tuchel who Tuchel is. But if your game is just you're going to be physical, you're going to fight for every ball, you're going to be a little bit more in the transition, that's fine. But you need to have some type of identity in this team. You can't do what Southgate did, which is just be a coward for a while. You just can't do that.
Yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because, again, like you said, it's his first game, so he may want to be, have a time to have a look at some of these players, pick this selection, see how they perform for him in how he wants to approach the game and how he wants to set up. Over time, if we keep seeing these players not performing for England and for him, and he keeps picking them, then you have question marks. I don't see the point in bringing a Jordan Henderson. But if he calls up Jordan Henderson, he comes on and he works in his system and he plays great, and Kyle Walker, and he can get something out of him, then you say fair enough. But it's going to be over time, these selections that he keeps doing when we have these international breaks and how he's looking at his team. So by the time we get to the World Cup, he should have figured out, right, this is my best team. This is the team that's going to perform for me. These are the ones getting called up, and no more just calling people up on their name or who they play for. But this is the team that fits how I want to play.
Yeah. Well, do you not think he's bringing in the likes of Henderson just to add a little bit more, like, I don't know, leadership, more?
That's what I was thinking, but there's no excuse still, Don. I mean, listen, look at the talent in that position.
Bro, listen, if it's up to me, you think I'm picking this guy, bro? Ajax are trying to get rid of this guy. You know what I mean? I'm not picking him, but that's what Tuchel. That's his thinking. I believe. I think he's probably thinking about with these guys. Some of them are still inexperienced when it comes to England. Let's bring someone in who's experienced tournaments and whatnot. The pressure
who's actually won stuff as well. Players that actually won trophies. Yeah,
that could help off the pitch, innit? But I don't want to be seeing Henderson starting games. If I'm seeing him starting, that's what I'm looking at, and I'm like, bro, what's going on here? Has Wharton been picked? Actually, no, he got injured, didn't it? So
he's injured. I was thinking about it, probably just because of the injuries as well. He picked him because like Mainoo's out, Wharton's out. Yeah. I'm like, all right, maybe there's not a lot of choices right now in that position, so he just went for him. So I would be more worried if these people were available and he still picked them because there's no way. Yeah, you shouldn't be picking Henderson over them. But we'll see, man. As I said, he just needs to learn from the manager's mistakes because you know what, he's probably gonna get less patience from the fan base than Southgate did, and Southgate barely got any patience.
Because he's German.
This guy's German, so they're gonna use every time they lose a game, they will hop on that right away and say, "Oh, look, he's a German agent. We should have never hired a German manager."
I'm telling you,
he won't be afforded at the same time.
Southgate got a lot of patience, bro. Southgate was treated like a god here, bro. Right? Because you get a lot of fans watching the game drunk. They're not even looking at things tactically. They're not seeing what's going on. All they're seeing is us winning games, and that's the end of it. But when I'm watching the game and I'm seeing how we're playing, bro, I'm like, bro, like, how the fuck is England with these ballers on right now? One of the best teams, that you've got to pick from, even better than the golden generation in terms of the balance, right? How are they playing this badly, bro? And people are just enjoying it, saying, "Oh, we've won the game. It don't work like that, bro. You know what I mean?" Like I said, our creativity last summer was shocking, bro. It was shocking, bro.
Yeah, do you know what I think? I think what a lot of that was though is if we go back to 2018, it was the first tournament I remember in my lifetime where there was absolutely zero expectation of achieving anything. Nobody expected there to be any kind of chance that we progressed in any way, shape, or form. It was like it was like almost treated like a little bit of a free hit in many ways by people. I know that no one likes that word anymore. I think we ended up surprising people about how good we were or how, we got to a semi-final. And I think he sort of lived and dined out on that for a long time. And then look, he got to a Euro final. But you got to remember that Euros, we were poor up until maybe the Germany game. The group stages were awful. And then at the following World Cup, we had some good games and then poor. And even the Euros just gone, we were really poor in the group stages. But you go far in a tournament, and it's sometimes hard, I think, for people to say that let's move on. But I'm going to go to some of the comments in a minute. But there was an interesting debate I heard on socials, actually, in relation to the England setup and Bowen and Nwaneri ahead of the 2026 World Cup, which we'll get into in a minute. But this super chat here says, maybe a case of playing safe, knowing the media are lying in wait. Morgan Gibbs-White should be there for sure. Also, lots of injuries in these areas. And I've said this all along because I don't like how the media is going to treat Tuchel. as much as I'm a little bit surprised by these decisions, I'm holding back on overall judgment. I'm holding back before I go in and say this is a disgrace or this is terrible. I'm just kind of waiting because let's see how we should be winning the next couple of games. They shouldn't be too problematic for us, looking at who we've got. So we should be able to get through that, in my personal opinion. Eze should start. Eze should be starting, in my opinion. I think I like Eze. Again,
no.
You don't like Eze? You don't like Eze?
Eze to start where, man? I'm not starting him on the left.
Who's he starting over and where? In the 10, on the left? He's not the best in either of those. But I like Eze, but there's a level that Eze can. There's only a level that he can exceed, and I don't think he can play at the highest level of this team. If you really want to win a World Cup, I don't see Eze being a starter for you guys. He's probably one of the guys on the bench who'll play a role where maybe he comes on for one game and just gives you a spark, and that's it. He hasn't had a good season. He shouldn't start on the left. I think who do they have on the left in this team?
Rashford and Gordon.
If it's not Gordon or Rashford, I'm sorry, Eze's not starting. Rashford hasn't really banged for Villa yet, but he's been racking up a few assists.
He's been playing well.
I think Gordon is better than him right now, but it's one of those two. And I'm not gonna lie, in the 10, that's what I'm saying. I'm interested to see how Tuchel's gonna play, because if he's playing anything similar to the setup that he had at Chelsea, Morgan Gibbs White is tailor made for one of those 10s for him. Like he's tailor made. That left 10 is his position.
I don't think he's gonna play three at the back. I think he's gonna play a 4-2-3-1.
That's what I'm saying. I'm very interested to see how he plays. If he plays anything like he played at Chelsea, or just plays a little bit more transition, Morgan Gibbs White is tailor made for that position. I'll be honest with you, and I'll be honest. I mean, if Kunle's watching, there you go. You're gonna get your moment, Kunle. But Phil Foden shouldn't be playing. I honestly think Phil Foden should just be dropped. And I honestly, if I see a team that's perfectly built for Tuchel to go ahead and compete in the World Cup, I don't see a spot for Foden in it. Because if I'm looking at the wings, Foden doesn't start on either wing. If I'm looking at the 10s, I see Palmer and Gibbs White, at just those two at least, starting ahead of him. I honestly don't think there's ever going to be a scenario now where Phil Foden goes into this England team and he plays his best football. His style of football doesn't really fit what they're doing. And he's the pure example of when, I think you were saying this the other day, Terry. I was listening to one of your shows. You said the manager needs to pick the best players for how he wants to play, not just the best players in the country, or else you're going to find yourself in another Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard situation where you just want to shoehorn everyone in the team. And the best example, and I'm gonna stop talking in a second. The best example, go back to that 2018 World Cup when Belgium was balling out. Their best midfielder, if you guys still remember, was Nainggolan. Remember Nainggolan? I think he was playing at Roma at the time, or Inter, one of those. Nainggolan was their best midfielder, and he got dropped in that World Cup. And Martinez came out and explained and said the reason he dropped him is because he doesn't fit what he's trying to do with this team. And they went ahead to have the best World Cup we've seen in years. They finished third, and their midfield was absolutely bowling, and they didn't have their best midfield in there. So it's proof that you don't really need to have the best player in quality to shoehorn in a team. So Foden, I'm not gonna lie, I don't see a future.
Yeah, but look, Foden's form for England hasn't been good for a long time, and his form at club level has been poor as well. Maybe I understand, like we said about some of the others, a bit of an inclusion of some experienced players. Maybe if you have a squad that's got too many inexperienced players, there is always that chance of a bit of stage fright and freezing at that level. And the worst thing for Tuchel is not picking up wins in his opening two games and everything else. But yeah,
we're playing Albania. We're playing Albania as well. Yeah, you know, everyone's gonna be outside today, bruv. I know Edgware Road's gonna be mad today.
It's gonna be crazy. Morgan Rogers. I mean, yeah, look, Rogers. I'm glad to see him. He's had an excellent season. Like he should be starting. Yeah, look, or in and around starting, or in contention for it. So look, there's some really good players that are involved. I'm really happy to see Rashford back in the side. You know, he hasn't scored yet for Aston Villa, but I do think he's looked good in most of the games. He's created a lot of goals.
Loves him. Tuchel always loved Rashford. That's one of the reasons I want him at United. I look at this situation, right? I always look. We can all be subjective in our opinions on players, and I'm right, you're wrong. That's fine. But I actually think if you look at the volume of managers and clubs that want to buy or rate a player, the moves they make after they leave the club they're at when you're making those debates, I think that often will objectively answer how good or bad we think players are, away from our own personal opinions. And the fact that so many top coaches rate Rashford, the fact that there's so many teams that are interested in him and want to buy him. And I know, so he only went to Aston Villa. That's because of how much money he earns. And I think people were a little bit, what if he has gone over the hill? But I think that people will be queuing up in the summer. And I actually feel a bit sorry for Villa because I don't think they're going to end up getting him.
because the option to buy only works if Rashford wants to join them. And I actually think you might have a few other clubs that come in for him. But I'm happy to see
Terry, you know what it is, though, yeah? Our clubs are quite similar because we've got a tag that follows us in regards to the environment for these players, right? That's why you can still move guys on like Rashford or even a Sancho, right? Even with us, like we're gonna have a lot of players to move on, and a lot of clubs are gonna take the opportunity of them because they're like, oh, Chelsea's not the best environment for these sort of players. Look what happened with Kai Havertz. You know, they picked him up from there. He's done better for them than he did for us, which I always said he would do, right? But in terms of actually getting over the line, I said this ain't the guy. He's more of a squad player, right? There's many examples like that, bro. So it does kind of help you that you've got that reputation because people like Rashford should be moved on. Obviously, the likes of Eriksen, it's a little bit harder because of the age and whatnot. But you know, it's not the best environment. Even Garnacho is someone that you'll be able to move on in the summer as well, bro.
Yeah, he didn't even get called up for Argentina, bro.
He got called up.
No, he didn't.
He didn't get called up this time.
Stocks are not looking good, man. The stocks were peaking in January. Now
somebody is going to come in for him in January, and it's going to be Chelsea in the summer. Chelsea are coming in. This is what I'd love to see happen. You say impossible. Yeah, maybe he's a bit too old for you, actually, to be fair. He's a bit too old. But this is what I want to see happen. I want to see you buy Garnacho, and then we go out and pick up Semenyo. That'd be a nice. What would you make of that, by the way, Staffy? Semenyo in, Garnacho out. We were talking about it last night on the United stand. Would you be happy with that as a piece of business?
Any sell of Garnacho would make me happy. I'll be honest with you. Just we need the money. We need the pure profit. Don't laugh, Don. You know this one. Don't laugh. I see that little smirk.
I'm laughing because I remember I went live with you and Saeed, and then Muppeteers, that Muppet, yeah, talking about Chelsea about to put a bid in. You get it? But he's still stuck with your club. You know what I mean? I dodged that bullet.
We tried to get max money and we got nothing. Semenyo, I like Semenyo. I don't necessarily know where he would play for us. That's the only issue. I mean, he's very good. He plays across the front three. I just don't know where he would fit. I don't see him as one of our 10s. So I still look at different profiles when I look about, okay, who do we need to recruit to play in one of those 2-10 positions? And Semenyo doesn't strike me as that player. To me, he'd play one of the wing backs, but he's not a defender. So I don't know if he would play him in one of those wing backs. Is he a good player? Yes. In a 4-3-3 system, would I take him? Yes. Do I think he fits the system that we have right now? I don't think so. So I'm not sure. That by the way, again, that's not me saying he's a bad player. So if he goes somewhere else and he kills it, I don't want people to say, oh, remember when Staffy didn't want from United? That's not what I'm saying. It's not about just getting a good player in general. It's about getting a player that probably fits a good system. If anything, he probably fits Spurs in it as an example a little bit more because they need that type of profile on their wings.
Us as well, bro. We need someone like that.
You need a miracle, bro.
Chelsea's is very, very interesting, right? Because I'm going to put this. But I wanted to change the graphics while we were live, just because I like putting the comments up, but I hate that it covers people's faces. And every week I go, I'm going to move the cameras up and change the graphics, and I always forget to do it. And then we were live, and I'm like, it's bothering me. So there they are, changed. We might change it again next week. There we go. So we can now that way we can put your comments up like this, and it doesn't cover anybody's faces. There we go. You see, innovation on Chelsea. And I'm going to go first to Lawless on this. He's been quiet for a while, but Chelsea have got some problems when it comes to their attack. This graphic here shows the most underperforming teams in the league. Only Southampton have forwards have underperformed more than Chelsea's attackers in front of goal. And that includes your strikers, your wingers, and your number 10s like Palmer as an example, or your attacking midfield players. Only Southampton have underperformed more than Chelsea in front of goal. And then when you look at it individually, the only two players to be above their XG is Neto and Sancho, but that's because they barely get themselves into goal scoring opportunities. Their expected XG is tiny. Every other player, Jackson and Nkunku, Palmer, João Felix, Madueke, all of the only ones that forget about Tarek George, these guys have barely played. That there, Lawless, is awful. And so far, Chelsea's response to this has been to go out and buy 2 more teenage players, one of them joining in 2026. That there is damning the attacking line.
Before you come in, let me just read one more stat as well, yeah? So this is the worst shot conversion rates in the Prem in 2025.
This guy's a lawyer. He prepared documents before.
But listen, I'm telling you, bro. This is what I'm watching. Yeah, what I've been watching with my attack is backed up by the stats. So Leicester have a 3.3% conversion rate. Wolves have a 7.8% conversion rate. And Chelsea have an 8.6% conversion rate, blood. Yeah? Well, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Oh, mate, like that is horrendous. And let's not forget that Cole Palmer was included in that. So let's not just blame Jackson and then Cuckoo and say, well, if we just replace those two, if we got that striker, imagine where we would be. Like at the end of the day, you know, if you're going to be up there in a team challenging, you kind of want the goals by committee. You want that main man, of course, which is what Arsenal are missing out on. But when the rest of the team and your midfield ain't chipping in, then that's a problem. So it can't just be the answer is, well, just get that one striker in. Problem solved. We've got the best squad in the league. Can't touch us. Like there's a wider issue there with Chelsea, and to spend all that money to bring in all these players and still go and not learn from your mistakes and bring in more young players and try and asset flip and all this stuff, it just makes me feel like Chelsea are never going to learn from their mistakes. And Maresca needs to obviously take a look at himself as well with how he's setting up the team and maybe the positions he's playing certain players in, whatever. Of course, he's got to take a big bit problem. But yeah, Bowley, Clearlake, all these people, man, how they're running the club is horrendous. And then to be so heavily linked with Garnacho as they were, you didn't get him. But I just haven't got much faith in Chelsea going forward that, okay, in the summer, everything's going to be fixed. You probably will spend some money, but will it be spent where it needs to be spent? You need to go and get in those top level players, the players with the X factor now. That's going to elevate the
Lawless,
team.
I think. Can I say something? I think you guys are actually reading this stat wrong. Can you put it again on the screen there? I want to point out something. Now look at Chelsea again. All right. Now obviously they're second to bottom, right? But look at the four XGs, which is the second column. All right, 45.23. That's what the second highest after Liverpool.
Behind Liverpool,
So if anything, it actually shows you that that's how good they are in terms of creating XG for themselves. They're only 8 behind Liverpool, or the league leaders.
We're not clinical.
Now, obviously, you can point out that.
And Staffy, you're right. And we spoke about this earlier on in the week. They are creating the opportunities. The problem they have is that they haven't been clinical, and that's why I think the way that I see Maresca being attacked, I find it. I understand the criticism, but I think this doesn't prove anything outright. But I think this is a key indicator to people like Dom, and this isn't a dig, this is for a conversation, that maybe your squad, and I'm talking the attacking element here, because we know about your defense and your goalkeeper, midfield, brilliant. I think the attack at Chelsea is every bit as problematic as their defense and goalkeeper. Because if you're creating everything, if you're having these opportunities, and you're consistently underperforming. And this isn't just one season where Chelsea fail up front. You've been struggling by and large in the attack for 4 or 5 years. So I think this is an indication that the squad isn't good enough. I think what Chelsea have got is a lot of players who are aesthetically pleasing on the eye. There's some good creativity. There's good runs. Oh, the first touch, the step over. Oh, the drag bag, bruv. You see that flip flap? Oh, did you see the Cruyff turn? Did you see the X, Y, and Z? The guy is, you get those FIFA players that are brilliant with the skills, but they can't shoot. That's almost like Chelsea. And I feel that for me is what's got to be addressed. And the bit that doesn't worry me, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but the bit I'm flabbergasted by is that you need some bagsmen. That's going to cost you money. People that score goals are the most expensive players in football. I know eye test merchants hate this. Goal scoring is the hardest skill in football. It's why there's less people that are good at scoring goals in football than doing keepy-ups and flicks. You can find 100 kids like that in the park that can do those flicks and keepy-ups. You can't find them that score at the highest level. Yeah. And the fact that Chelsea have gone and dropped 70 million on more kids when that should be going towards a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, that for me would be a sobering feeling as a Chelsea fan.
The thing is, though, Terry, I think on that last point, we can't really, come to like a full-blown conclusion until the end of the summer. If come the end of the summer, we haven't bought a striker again, then you can say, oh, you guys went and spent 70 M's on the kid, right? So I'm not going to overly cook them for that, because in isolation, I think Kwenda's a top talent. In isolation, I think Asugo is another top talent as well, right? But I'm not going to get mad now. Like, we have to wait till the summer, see what we do. There's about 11 players that are going to get sold as well, right? Chelsea spend a lot of money because we get rid of a lot of players, right? But in terms of the attack, it's something that this season, for example, players like Palmer, who last season, bro, every single time Palmer gets on the ball, it's going in. You know what I mean? He was very clinical last year. But this season, I've been telling you guys, this guy has not been clinical in front of goal, right? His decision-making has been poor. You know what I mean? Jackson, last season, yeah, he was missing chances, but second half of the season, he actually improved massively, bro, right? And first half of the season this year, he was scoring a lot of goals. This time round, he's on a massive drought. This is the biggest drought that Jackson's been on. And for me, it's down to his confidence. It's down to how he shoots. His shooting technique is so bad. It's so bad, bro.
But when does coaching come into that, Dom? When do you look at actual coaches, because they're having training sessions and they're looking at this and actually trying to correct these issues? And how much do you attribute to
no coaching that's going to make your striker an elite ball striker?
Exactly.
No. Wait, hold up, Staffy. Wait, hold up a second. Wait. Hold up. Don't gaslight me, Mister. Don't gaslight me. Yeah, I never said. What I'm saying is, he's saying from Don saying that he was good. This was an issue. Now his ball striking is bad. Now this is an issue. So if it wasn't an issue before and it's an issue now,
been a good no. It's always been bad. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, bro, his technique. This is Jackson's problem, right? I keep telling you, look, when Jackson shoots, he doesn't lock his foot, right? That's one of the basic things they teach you when you start playing football, bro. When you shoot, when you pass, you lock your foot so it's not flappy. You know what I'm saying? He's got a flappy foot, bro, right? And he does it time and time again. There's so many times.
That can't be coached. That can't be coached.
Bro, of course, you can improve. He can improve.
20s? What is this? You're not teaching a kid.
Don just said it's the basic first thing they teach you. If it's a basic first thing, it doesn't matter if you're 40.
Lawless, they don't teach. Lawless, you don't hire managers in the elite level of football to teach your players how to kick a ball. What are we doing?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying what you realize when we sit here and we talk about managers and coaches, we always think on game day. We always think, okay, setting up a team for a game. They train multiple days a week on drills, routines, all sorts. If you notice a problem with one of your players, and you're not addressing it and trying to improve and
what is he going to say?
Like
Jackson, let's learn how to kick a ball today.
No, I'm not saying that, Staffy. But listen to what I am saying. If, like as Don said, there's a problem with one of your players' fundamentals, right?
You address it in the market. That's what you do.
And you, Staffy, just let it go because we're not teaching you how to kick a ball. Then that's your problem. If you're
that's not what you do. First of all, Lawless, striking a ball, and I'm talking about properly striking a ball, is actually such a rarity when it comes to football. Not everyone can strike a ball very well. That's why there's players that stand out for being elite ball strikers. Okay, when you have a striker who struggles to score goals, and he's a good all-round player, but he doesn't finish well, you go and address it in the market. What you don't do is you go get Estevao, you go get Kwanda, and you go get, what's the other 17-year-old name coming in? Don, there's too many of them.
Asugo's not 17.
No, not that one. There's another one. Estevao. Paez. You're going to get 3 17-year-olds to come in the next 2 years to address your wings when you still don't have an elite striker. When there's players out there, instead of me seeing confirmations about Gyökeres or Osimhen or all these guys, you're going to get 3 wingers to fight over these positions over the next couple of years. You're still doing a lot of what you're doing over the last few years. This is when I'm going to not look at Maresca and blame him. This is when I look at Clearlake and say, you're not doing your job. Because it's clear right now, whether they want to believe in Maresca or not, that's not up to me. I don't care. I'm not the Chelsea fan. I'm not going to decide for you what you guys want to do. But it's very clear right now what the issues are in this Chelsea team. It's a striker, it's a goalkeeper, it's arguably a more fitting center-back partnership, and someone who can play since Lavia you can't play. Now, I know that the Portuguese guy you guys are getting from Sporting, maybe he's going to be the Lavia replacement. See, he can stay fit.
He's Caicedo's back.
Caicedo, whoever it is, you're just in the midfield. But my point is that we can tell what the issues are right now with your front line. with your team. You're still not addressing it by signing all these kids. Now they can be talented. I'm not saying they're crap. They're talented, okay? Because I don't want people in a year to say, "Didn't you call them crap?" They're not crap. Kwanda's good. I wanted Kwanda, but you're addressing issues that you don't have. It's like you don't have dinner, but you bought more. You bought more dessert.
Yeah, but
you're just gonna eat dessert for the rest of the night. Yeah, where's your main course?
Yeah, but
where's your striker?
Staffy, I get the criticism, and your criticism's fair, but I just think the timing of it is wrong, bro. Like, we're in March, right? Gyökeres, we haven't even got Champions League football yet, right? Osimhen's going to be looking to see who makes Champions League.
That's money being spent, Don. That's the point. Yeah, that is less money. Any penny you spend now is less money that you can spend later.
Bro, the thing is, if the opportunity is there to go and get these guys that you want to go get, right? As long as you make sure that you go and buy the striker in the summer, I've got no problem. That's why right now I'm just keeping quiet. I'm just like, okay, you lot spent all this money on these kids. Fair enough. Make sure that you go and cash out on the striker now, because if you don't, I'm going to crash it on you, right? That's the facts of it. And the facts of it is, in the summer, we're selling a lot of players again. A lot of players that haven't even been here for a year are gone again, bro. Don't be surprised if Felix gets sold as well, right? But going back to the point that you were both making, yeah, you're both right. Staffy's basically saying you can't ever teach Jackson how to be a ball striker like a Duran. That's a natural ability that they have. Gyökeres, he will never be a ball striker like that. But what Lawless is saying is some of the chances that Jackson's missing are pathetic. Surely you've got a coach that's teaching him how to improve in terms of his finishing. And Lawless is right, bro. Right?
That's individual work. I agree with Lawless, but that's I can never look at the manager and say, why is your striker not putting extra work to strike the ball better?
But the point is,
the head coach, so he's in charge of that shit. He's in charge of.
No, that's not what he's in charge. I'm sorry. This is where I sympathize with managers.
Staffy, I don't know what you don't understand. You're the head coach. So it's your job. If something's not happening, the buck stops at you. If your coaching staff aren't looking at someone and going, they're having a problem with this technique, this issue, this fundamental, and they're not taking them aside, and you're just being like, boom, like my hands are clean.
But you're still missing my point. You don't tell players what to individually work on. That is their job. That's what they do in preseason or when they're off, when they're not with the team. This is when they start working on the individual attributes. One second. This is when they start working on individual attributes that they can improve. Managers don't come into teams and tell players what to personally improve on in terms of like ball striking and stuff like that. Their job is to come in, take a team, learn what their best attributes are, and put them to play together in a team. That's what a manager does. A manager is not going to micromanage 26 to 30 players and go and say, you can't shoot well, so I want you to stay overtime and you strike the ball. Your passing is not that good, so I want you to sit back and start passing. You're not making good saves with your wrist, so I want you to stay back and make saves. That's not what a manager does. There's 30 players in the squad. He doesn't tell them what to do.
The thing is, this is what I'm saying. Both of you are right in what you're saying, but end of the day, I'm with Lawless on this one when I'm specifically talking about the types of misses I'm seeing Jackson miss, right? Some of these, I'm sorry, bro. I can't keep running away to Maresca every time and saying, yo, it's Maresca's fault when I'm seeing Jackson right in front of the goal and the ball's not even going on target, bro, right?
That's why I said what I said.
There's been many times this season where I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, you've got to take responsibility as a player. That's why I was crashing on Maresca before for not giving Gil more minutes, because it's like, yo, Jackson kept missing all these chances and he's not being punished, right? I don't give a shit if Gil was 18. You decided to keep him here, so fucking use him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair criticism.
If you keep finishing that, if you're not improving on that, you're not fixing that, you get dropped. Someone else comes in.
Yeah, that's fine, Lawless. That's a fair argument. But I'm not going to sit here and say, please work on your ball striking. I saw Raheem Sterling play 5 years under Pep, and his ball striking never improved. You know what Pep did? Pep taught him how to get in better goal scoring opportunities and get better goal scoring chances over those 5 years. And that's why he started scoring 20 plus. But then his last year or his second to last year, I saw Sterling miss a tap-in against Lyon in the semifinal and they got knocked out of the Champions League. What am I going to say to Pep? 5 years and Sterling still can't score a ball.
So he worked around. That's not his job. He worked around. He figured out his weakness and worked around it. So
no, he worked around with a better squad. That's what I'm saying. It's up to Clear Lake now to get. No. I said he taught him how to. Okay, you can teach a player how to play smarter. So hey, this is how you're gonna play to get in better goal scoring chances. That's fine. You can teach an attacker that. What you're not gonna teach him is something that has to be instinctive. Ball striking is instinctive.
Yeah.
You can't teach someone if you're in your 20s and you still can't cross the
talking about two
circle.
You know what's so
It's not
crazy?
down to
You know why
the
Jackson will make sense to you lot? Jackson will make sense to you lot. 'Cause I didn't even know this till the other week, right? Jackson was still playing football in Senegal in 2019, bro. Right? He came to Europe in 2019 as a grown man, right? He didn't have the development of all these guys that have been playing in Europe in academies and whatnot.
I get that. I know why Dan though believes what he believes, and I know they're different sports, but it's because he does martial arts. And Dan, I know why Dan's belief system is there, and I get it because I've seen people that don't have great kicking technique or great grappling techniques or great jiu-jitsu techniques train it repetition, and it becomes instinctual, and they get the technique right. So I would love to have, listen, and I get people see it differently, and some will say it's a completely different sport. It can't be done in football. I think there's a happy medium here, personally. You're never going to have Jackson strike a ball as cleanly. I'm trying to think of someone who strikes it brilliantly.
Like Duran, we said.
Duran, as an example. You're never going to make him do that, but I think you can make him a better finisher. I think you can make him I think you can make him a better finisher by making him more composed in certain positions. There's work you can do. They do it with goalkeepers, for instance, and you see it with goalkeepers. They show you the training. They've created all the different things where a ball gets shot and it goes through like a group of...
But that's individual work, Terry. There you go. You just proved my point. That is individual training that you should do. When goalkeepers, I know what you're talking about, when they put these little obstacles on the floor, so when the ball is hit, they work on the reflexes. That is individual work. That is down to, at the end of the day, that is down to Jackson to do that. Because when they bought Jackson for Villarreal, and Don will tell you, since he's Mr. Research, he already had that reputation that he wasn't a good finisher. And a lot of people questioned it. I just don't understand how we're blaming the manager for this. And I honestly, I could have just asked you from the beginning, Lawless, give me an example of a player who was not a good ball striker and a manager just made him an elite ball striker all of a sudden. Because people like to say that. No one ever gives me examples.
Staffy, stop talking right now.
Go ahead, give me an example.
Wait a minute, because you talk about gaslighting all the time. When did I say...
I'm asking a question.
No, stop talking. You've done a lot of talking, and answer the question. When did I say Maresca should turn him into an elite ball striker?
I didn't say you said that, but you got to give me examples of managers that do stuff like that. If you're going to say a manager's supposed to improve something,
hold on, we're going around in circles here. Lawless is right, bro. I'm sorry. Lawless is right in what he's saying. Jackson's finishing is so bad that it can definitely improve. That's just the facts of it.
It's not Maresca's fault, is what I'm saying.
I never said it's Maresca's
manager's fault.
It's not his fault that it's bad, but you take some accountability of saying, right, I can see this is a problem. Don can see it's a problem. We can all see it's a problem.
We all know it is. I agreed with you.
He's not improving. You need to have a word with the guy.
Well, so we're disagreeing on the fix. That's what me and you are doing right now. We agreed there's a problem, but what is the fix? You're saying the fix is different than what I'm saying the fix is. That's the disagreement.
But you're saying the responsibility of the fix. What I'm saying is, yes, you can say Jackson should, a good player who gets paid a lot of money, he should take it on himself. If he's not taking it upon himself, the man that keeps playing him and putting him in that situation needs to take it upon himself. You ain't improving.
Who's it going to put in striker?
Lawless, what it is. Listen,
he's not playing Jackson now, is he, Staffy? So he has personnel because he's playing Neto up front. He's playing other people. What do you mean?
Jackson hasn't been playing and they actually became worse. So actually, with a bad striker, they're now worse when they don't actually have the bad striker. So there you go. What did we achieve from here?
Staffy, over that Christmas period, over that Christmas period, I'm telling you now, over that Christmas period, if we had someone. That's not even, bro. If we had Chris Wood over that Christmas period, right? We are still closer to Liverpool because Jackson.
I agree. Yeah, that's fine.
Jackson was getting so many chances where I'm like, yo, I'm honestly in disbelief at how the fuck he's missed that, right? I'm like, how the fuck have you missed that, bro? Right? I know some non-league footballers right now that are better finishers than this guy. Not even ball strikers, better finishers than this guy, and they're getting paid like £500 a week. You know what I mean? Not even 1% of what he's getting paid, right? So it's pathetic. Yeah. We need him back because you're right. When he plays, he helps Palmer. They've got a good chemistry and whatnot. I like the all-round game and whatnot. Cool. But overall, we need someone to take the pressure off this guy because he should have never been that guy to be starting for Chelsea week in, week out. That's where you've got to look at above him, right? They're the ones that are fucked up by not bringing a striker, so you're relieving Jackson of pressure. Every week I'm watching this guy, bro. He's drowning. And it got to a point where the finishing was bad. Before he got injured, bro, his all-round game became bad. His touch is off. Yeah, he's trying to do step overs. It's as if he's got as if his boots are too big. Like I told you with Gallagher, but he's falling everywhere. You know what I mean, right? His confidence was on the floor. You know what I'm saying? So this guy just needs. For me, I feel like Jackson just needs that 1 or 2 goals, and he'll get back into the rhythm of things. But right now, bro, his confidence is on the floor.
I hear that. There's a comment here that Simon Phillips shared, and it's from the Nazir Kinsella talking about Chelsea. And it says, buy young stars on lower wages, spread the payments over long contracts, keep flipping players and sell on unwanted talent for profit. That is Chelsea's strategy in a nutshell. Do you think this strategy is going to change in the summer to add more quality and more experience to this squad? So I get your point. You said it about a little while. I know we went on to a different subject. You said that you won't make a full-blown conclusion. I get and understand that, and I agree with you. I'm calling things out that I would be worried about, but you're right. Do you think this summer they are going to go and sign you the stars that this team now needs, or do you think it's going to be up-and-comers, youngsters, and waiting for this current group to come of age?
Bro, the main thing for me is, are they going to be able to get over the line? Right? These lot tried to get Olise. They weren't able to get over the line. They tried to get Osimhen. They weren't able to get over the line. We've tried to get these guys that should be playing for Chelsea right now, and they've struggled to get over the line. So the biggest thing for me is, I know we're going to be in for these guys. I know we're going to try for some of these guys. But are you going to be able to make sure that they're playing for Chelsea and they sign that contract? Are you going to, pussy out and paying them these wages, and now you're going down to Delap? I like Delap, but I'm sorry, for me, he's like 3rd, 4th choice. I would bring him in and bring someone else in, if anything, and have 3 strikers, right? I'm going to be dropping down to that level. You got to get me Gokeres. You got to get me Isak, right? If you go back in for Osimhen, you got to make sure that you wrap that up. That's what I'm kind of looking at. But I'm not going to sit here with bare confidence and say, yeah, we're going to get it done. Because I'm sorry, bro. I've seen them try to get these guys, but struggle to get over the line. You get it?
That's how I'm kind of looking at it. From when you was getting Lavia and Caicedo and that, you was beating Liverpool out to them and getting them over the line, and Liverpool wanted them. Like, what has changed from that to now?
That's what I'm saying. It's a mix, because people will just look at the ones that we haven't been able to get over the line, but then you can look at Enzo Fernandez. We got that done in January. You can look at Caicedo. We came back with a bigger bid when we beat the Ornstein bomber, bro. When that happened, I'm getting woken up at 2 a.m. by Mons barking on the phone. I thought, shit, these lot have actually done us. The next day we come back and we get it done. You know what I mean? So there's examples on both sides.
He rang you up 2 a.m. to gloat about that, and he ended up going to Chelsea in the end anyway.
Bro, he rang me up 2 a.m. I wrote, you know, he loves that one. I wrote, yeah. Talking about come online right now. I couldn't even say anything.
He stopped doing it since then, hasn't he? And was it Cal from Copy?
Yeah, Callum.
Callum's noise, sort of noise that he makes. Shabba la 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 la. That's gone as well. Shabba la 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 la. That's all gone now. No one does that anymore.
It's all gone, bro. So that's what I mean. People have got to be fair in it. Like, you know, like people say, "Oh, Santos is gonna get sold," and I'm like, bro, there's many examples in this team of players that Clear Lake fuck with that are untouchable to them, right? You've got to look at both sides. But when you've got a hate agenda, you don't look at both sides. Me, I'm more in the middle, innit?
Yeah, this here from JJ says, Terry, even if Chelsea buy Isak or Osimhen, they will never challenge as long as Maresca, the fraud, is the manager. I mean, we're just seeing the stats, though. And then stats don't mean everything. You have to watch games. But if you had Isak up front this season, and I don't think just Isak, because loads of players have missed chances. But if you have Isak and another attacker that are converting at a good rate, surely you'd still be in the title race. So for me, I look at that and just think, how does that make Maresca I'm not saying he hasn't made mistakes. He absolutely has to be called out. But when you look at the fact that you're one of the biggest underperformers in the league in terms of XG, and a lot of that is because you lack clinical edge. If you buy more clinical players, surely that by itself changes everything for Chelsea, or am I?
Statistically as well, when we've got Fofana in the team, right, we concede way less goals, bro. You know what I mean? When Fofana was fit, I think we only lost 1 game. When Lavia's there, we can actually play how Maresca wants us to play. We're at our best. We can counter press from the front. You know, Lavia can help sweep up, because you already know, bro. Like, if you've got Caicedo and Enzo, you know, in attacking positions, and you lose the ball, you're gonna have people running through the midfield. Man City have this problem themselves, but the thing is, they had Rodri to stop them, right? To stop the players. We had Lavia there to do that, but when he's gone, you haven't got that anymore, bro. You're lacking that physicality. You're lacking someone that can sweep up, someone that can help the centre backs in front of you, right? When you haven't got Fofana, your defense straight away, You're looking at Chalobah. Chalobah is a car crash. Yeah, I can think of about four goals since he's been back that have been his fault. You know what I mean, right? You've got guys like Tosin, who for me, I don't mind him as a squad player, but I don't want to be seeing Tosin every single game, blood. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many things here. I'm not taking away blame from Maresca, but for people to make it so black and white as if it's all on him, I'm like, bro, like I've seen good things from this guy, I've seen bad things from this guy, and on top of that, I've seen things that we can improve in terms of squad building. I had the same energy for Poch as well, by the way. But the issue I had with Poch, most of the time, I found myself blaming him more than the players. That's when I knew this guy wasn't right for what we're trying to do. Yeah, bare games we're struggling to create. It's Cole Palmer having to save us. Whereas this time round, I'm seeing way more chances before Jackson got injured, and we're not being clinical. You know, it's different, bro. People trying to make us sound better last season, bro. We were shocking last season. I know we've been bad the past few weeks, but Jesus Christ.
I think it was a season of 2 halves, though, John. Like, second half was the end. You improved massively.
No. Second half, bro. Second half on paper, cool, you can say all of that. It's the last 5 games where there was drastic improvement when Cucurella started to invert. That's when we started to play a little bit better. Before that, bro, hey, Lewis is in the chat. This guy knows. He's got a recall of Poch's charges. Yeah, a big long list of this guy's charges.
I will say this as well in defense of the end of last season. Yes, they improved those last 5 games where it looked really good, but that's also when you were playing a lot of teams who were on the beach, season's over, no pressure. It's Arsenal were the kings of that in the last 10 years of Wenger. That last 2 months of the season, that was, oh, wow, where was this Arsenal all year? Arsenal would do this thing where they'd start poorly under Wenger, have a good middle period, collapse, look brilliant at the end of the season. And it always used to get there. Oh, you know, a couple of good signings. Yeah. We're good to go again next year. You've got to assess a team in those difficult moments. And I'm not saying and this is the problem I find when listening to Chelsea fans talk. Individually, they make good points, but everything's very polarized. And if we get rid of this manager, we're sorted. If we just sign a top-class striker and score the goals, it's sorted. I don't think it's as simple as that. So I don't think if they just have Isak, they'll win the league next year. You definitely need a new goalkeeper. You do need to improve your defensive line. If you can't get Lavia fit, you need a replacement for him as an example.
We've got Santos coming back. Don't worry. You're going to learn about Andre Santos. You'll learn about him. Trust me. Yeah.
About who?
Andre Santos.
Andre Santos.
Is Sancho going back to Man United, yeah?
No, we don't want him.
Hey, I'm glad that you asked me that, because there is a possibility that Jadon could find himself back
let me ask you this question. So we all know it's plausible. You guys would have to pay somewhere between 15 and 18 million pounds to Man United to get out that clause. So it would be cheaper for you, but we'd actually make more money because we could sell him on and make more profit. What do you want, Don? Because you were buzzing when you got him. And this is where I don't want you. No deflecting here, Don. No deflecting. No talking about a dinner you had a week ago. No talking about something you did when you were 10. No throwing it back at Man United. Let me ask you, because you were buzzing when you got him. You said it was still at 25 million. So if I say to you now, you've got the decision, 25 million pounds to buy him or 15 million pounds to not buy him, what option are you taking?
Bro, if unless we bring in a striker and overlap the fullbacks and use this guy as a squad player, we're not going to see the best of him, bro. Like, we're asking Sancho to do things in this system where he just can't do it consistently, bro. Like, he's completely isolated, trying to take 2 players on. Staffy, we've spoken about Maresca not overlapping fullbacks. He's got no target man to aim for, right? He know the thing is about Sancho, he knows how to shoot, but he doesn't shoot enough. The other day, it was like his first shot all year, bro. You know how embarrassing that is? You know what I'm saying? So, as a squad player, Terry, honestly, bro, I don't mind it.
But how much is he on, Don, to be a squad player? What's his wage? His wages got to be mad.
His wages went down to like 100k a week or something like that, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, they went down massive.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true. This is what isn't true about it. So Chelsea are paying about 100k of his 200 odd k a week salary, but if he joins permanently, his salary is going, but it's going to go up from what you're paying now. So he will be more than 100k a week for you next season if he joins. Bro, I'm not saying he'll be 250, but there's no way he's signing for anybody on 100k a week.
It could be that. It could, bro. Listen, it could be that, because end of the day with Chelsea, our wages have dropped, and in terms of the role we'll give him, I don't think we'll look at him as a nailed-on starter. You know what I mean?
You said a lot of things, Don. But you didn't answer directly. If you had to make that decision, are you signing him for 25 million, or are you not signing him but still paying out 15 million? Which of those 2 options would you take right now, hand on heart, knowing your club and what you think you're going to do in the summer? Would you buy him or pay to? I mean, remember what the wording here is, right? Would you pay to buy him, or would you pay to not buy him?
Bro, I'm trying to think who we can replace him with, Terry. That's what I'm trying to think of, bro, in the market. Obviously, because we're looking.
The damn question.
We're looking. No, bro, because let me think, man. Because we're looking to bring in a left winger to replace.
What do you mean, think? It's been a topic for like weeks now. What, you just heard about it today?
I know it has. But end of the day, bro. Man are trying to pressure me, but end of the day, I know what Sancho is, and I know how I would use him, right? But we're not using him like that.
You're not the manager.
If we're not going to use him like that,
I'll be honest with you. We've got to be objective about Sancho. And look, all of us have defended him at the right times when he's had horrible shit said about him, stupid things in the press, Ten Hag making him eat lunch in the car, all of that right to defend him on. When you say you know what type of player he is, when are we going to have an honest conversation about Sancho and just point out that after all these years in the Premier League, United now at Chelsea, maybe your opinion of how good a player he is in terms of actually delivering in real games, maybe your opinion on him is just wrong. Maybe he just isn't good enough or isn't suited for the Premier League.
No, I've said that, bro. I've said to you, like, for what we want to do in terms of starting, I don't think he's good enough to do that. But that doesn't mean he's a useless squad player. I think he can definitely help against low blocks, right? I think you can bring him off the bench and make those little underlapping passes. When we played, was it Leicester? I think we played Leicester. Right, we won that penalty because of him. The penalty that Palmer should have got was because of him as well. You know what I'm saying? So he's not completely useless, Terry. That's the thing. But Sancho needs to be in a team. Sancho needs to be in a team that's ready-made, right? And I'm not gonna cry if we send him back to United. I'm not gonna cry about that. I'll be real.
But you're gonna have to pay him to send him back. You're forgetting the finance.
It is where it is. It is where it is. It is where it is.
The money.
I'm just saying, Terry, right? There's still things that we can do in this team to help players like him, players like Neto, you know what I'm saying? Players like Madueke, you know what I mean? This guy, bro, he played his best football when he was playing on fucking Haaland, and he had an overlapping fullback. We don't have that at Chelsea.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, Dan. I'm going to be real with you. Listen, because I'm someone who defended Sancho a lot on this platform. I still like what Sancho used to be, at least. It's at this point, you just have to just be honest about it. He never lived up to the 75 million for one reason or another. He'll never live up to it. And I'll be honest, after 3 years of that transfer happening, I don't think he's ever going to be that worth it again. Like, I'll be honest with you. You know why Chelsea doesn't want to play 25 for him? It's because they know they can't sell him for more than 25. The only reason I'll take him back at United is because you're probably going to have to give me 15 million. And I could definitely sell him for at least another 15 million. So there you go. I actually got more than the 25 that you were originally going to give me. He just didn't live up to anything, bro. I'll be honest with you. The guy just doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't want to dribble. I liked what he was. I don't know why he became this player, but it reached a point that I don't even want to talk about why it happened. It's just the fact that it did happen, and we just got to realize that he's a very useless player right now.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, bro. That's what I said. He is a squad player, and he needs a lot of help. Therefore, if we get rid of him, I'm not going to lose any sleep. I'm honestly not going to lose any sleep, bro. I'm just saying. I know that my club hasn't helped him the way we should have helped him.
He could have had a lot more assists, to be honest. There was that one game, at least, I think it was the Villa game, where you guys missed 2 sitters that he put on a plate to someone. I think it was the Villa game.
I think it was Fulham.
Tweeting that. I was at Fulham or someone. I tweeted about that. I was watching a game and I couldn't believe that he didn't have 2 assists at least in that game. And you guys probably didn't even win that game. And people were like, "Oh, he had 0 GNA today." He is a little bit of a victim of not having a striker in that team. But going back to the 75 million that he was once worth at United, he's just never going to be that player because he didn't take his game to that level. He doesn't want to take enough risks. He doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't want to take on his men enough. He's just never going to be it, bro. So either take him or listen, pay me 15 mil and I'll take him back. And then I'll sell him myself.
Yeah, but Staffy, like, who do you think you can sell him to? Who do you think will buy him? Like,
Borussia Dortmund, I need one more favor from you guys.
Yeah, look, I feel bad. Listen, Sancho's a player I watched at Dortmund, fell in love with him, came to United. I had my moments where I was angry at performances, like with every player at the club from the past, and that happened again in the future. I feel bad for him. My gut feeling just says he's suited to other leagues, and that just because he's English doesn't mean he's suited to the Premier League. And I think that seen Scott McTominay this year look like Superman. That you see what the press have said about him over in Serie A, the way they rave about him. You've seen Anthony look brilliant in the Eredivisie. You've seen him go to La Liga and look really, really good. Maybe it was Man United, the environment as well. But it looks like he isn't suited to the Premier League. And there'll be players that will do well in the Premier League and then they'll go abroad and they'll look awful, as an example. And it works. Like, I always feel like Philippe Coutinho looks so much better in the Premier League than he did outside of it on a consistent level. And these things happen. Make sure you're hitting the like button for us, people. Watch Dom twerk for Enzo is phenomenal.
You lot are wrong, bro. You lot are telling me, oh, you just defend this guy, you just do this, you just do that. You see, my man, you've seen exactly what I was saying about Enzo Fernandes, bro. Sometimes just hold your hands up in it and say I was wrong.
This here says, implying a huge issue with Chelsea's strategy, but neither Staffy or yourself would bet on Ineos over Clearlake. This is the thing with that comment, though. Okay, so I appreciate it. We're not talking about Ineos, and we're not saying, again, your comment would hold water if Staffy and I were saying your strategy is wrong. You should be copying what we're doing. What we're doing is amazing. Oh my God, look at us. It's brilliant. We're at the peak. We're going to get back to the peak of our powers. Your strategy is wrong and stupid and bad. Then I think you would have a point of saying, well, show us why it's better. Show us why what you're doing is going to yield better results than what we're doing. But we haven't used Ineos and our current rebuild strategy as a hammer or a club to beat Chelsea over the head with. We're talking about Chelsea in isolation. So what my club is or isn't doing is irrelevant, because we're not using that as an example as to why Chelsea are bad or good. Equally, I've agreed with what Don said, and Gilno, maybe you missed what I said, that I am not making a full-blown conclusion about what they're going to do in the summer. I am just reiterating and playing host to what I'm seeing thousands of Chelsea fans say or agree with online, that they are angry and they are annoyed that experienced top quality players are needed. The briefing is we've got to sell to buy some of these players in the summer, but they've just committed 70 million to more young players. And there are a lot of Chelsea fans who think for a period, stop buying so many kids and invest that money in Osimhen's or Isak's or Gyökeres's world-class goalkeepers, because I actually do think Chelsea have a good to very good squad. The reason they fell away from this title race is because they have not enough attackers that are clinical and they don't have a top-class defense and or goalkeeper. And if they fix those areas, and I don't think you'll fix it by buying 18, 19, 20-year-olds. You won't fix it quickly. It might take another 2 or 3 years. And so that for me is a solid question. But what Man United are or are not doing with Ineos is completely irrelevant, because my footballing opinion and view on the world isn't dictated by who I support in any capacity whatsoever. But I appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you. Staffy, Wenger made Henry's finishing better.
How? You know what I'm going to do on YouTube from now on? Anyone who just makes a statement without explaining anything, I'm just going to embarrass them. I'll be like, how? Explain it. Because how people can't even explain. How did Wenger make Henry's finishing better? Please give me an explanation.
Well, he probably sent that super chat a long time ago, Staffy. So
I know, but just explain to me how. What did he do? What did Henry do? What did Wenger do? And whatever he did, then yes, we'll go to Maresca and say, please apply this with Nicholas Jackson. You are too young to know. See, this is what I'm saying. From now on, when people send super chats, I'm just gonna ask them how. I'm gonna ask them to explain, because people make statements and no one can even explain it. He just said in the chat right now, I'm too young to know. How? What do you mean I'm too young to know? What does that have to do with anything? Explain to me what he did.
Ronnie here says Chelsea have to pay either way. Got to clap Ineos. What I love about this, Ronnie, is that Decay came in and clapped back at you and said, clap Ineos. You guys paid 70 million and put him on 200k a week. The thing is, clap Ineos, don't clap Ineos. Ineos weren't in charge. No one currently running Man United Football Club was running the club when we signed Jadon Sancho. As much as I've criticized a lot of things that Ineos have done, I'm not going to blame Barada or Sir Jim or Brailsford or Wilcock or Vivell, the signing of Jadon Sancho. They didn't do it. So what I will say is that, again, I wouldn't even necessarily clap Ineos, Ronnie, because it turns out that most obligations to buy have huge financial penalties for buying out of them. And Chelsea may not even do it. This is just, I actually think this is a bit, not quite a nothing burger. all that happened was an interview where someone said, "Did Chelsea have to buy out?" And I feel like David Ornstein made a little bit of a throwaway comment where it's like they've got an obligation, but it basically said there's always a buyout option in these.
Bro, all he did was just leak what's in a contract. That's all he did.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I spoke to a few different journalists. I've spoke to a few different lawyers that I know, and they're like, yeah, it's highly likely that most obligations to buy have this type of buyout option because in most elements of business in the commercial world, you can buy out of contracts at a penalty. For instance, right now, any player's contract can be like terminated by the club. Now, some you have to pay the full amount owed. Some of them have buyouts where you might have someone who's going to be paid £25 million over a 5-6 year period. If you want to mutually terminate that, there may be a clause in it that enables you to do it, but you've got to pay them 60-70 million pound guaranteed and whatnot. So yeah, they exist already. So I wouldn't even get into that too much. If Liverpool buy the right players, can we be better too?
Terry, I'm telling you, bro. I said this in the group chat as well. I keep telling people this. The team that wins the league next season is a team that has the best rebuild, bro. Right? Man City need a rebuild in certain positions. Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. Right? And 3 of these teams all need strikers, bruv. Liverpool need a striker. Chelsea need a striker. Arsenal need a striker. Yeah? And for us, we need to sort out our defense as well. That's the major difference between Chelsea and Arsenal, bro. They've conceded 13 less goals to us. Right? Same goals scored. Our midfield's been better than theirs. It's their fucking defense. Swap our defense, bro, and they're behind us. You know what I mean? So, bro, everyone's got to rebuild better, bro. That's who's going to win the league. We're not up against prime Pep and Klopp. You know what I mean? Times have changed, bro. It's a new era now. Man City have got all-timers leaving. Their recruitment's been shit recently. Yeah? Liverpool can lose all 3 of their all-timers, bro. World-class players they could lose, right? And obviously Arsenal, like I said, you know. So, bro, like, we got to make sure that we're in the hat, innit? We've got to make sure that we're competing next year. Because I'm looking around me, I'm not looking at a team that's capable of getting 100 points these days. You know what I'm saying? These man, I don't fear any of these teams right now.
No, listen, I get where you're coming from. I think next season is going to be very, very interesting. I think with Liverpool as well, isn't even if they buy well and the right players, it's what happens to those 3 leaving. I think that plays a hugely fundamental part, Jan, in what goes on with Liverpool next year, because you are losing potentially your greatest centre-back ever, definitely from the Prem era. You're losing one of your greatest attackers of all time, definitely your greatest player, period, in the Premier League era. And, I mean, I don't know Liverpool's history deep enough. I don't know. Have you had a better right-back than Trent? You definitely haven't had a better right-back in the Premier League era. And the reason why that is significant is if you look through the history of English football, whenever great teams have come to a bit of an end and the greatest players within that leave and move on, the team replacing them with like for like or players that are as good or maintaining those levels is rare, literally rare. Fergie sort of did it when he transitioned from his 90s team into his noughties team, but actually the reason he was able to do that is because there was a young core group that came in the middle end of his 90s team, the class of 92. Most of them were still there at the end of his time at the club. So there was a core that remained. Like they sort of, if you look at Fergie's time at Man United, it was a span here. In that middle, in the majority of it, that middle period, he had a core group, the class of 92. You look at Barcelona, look, they're a very good team now. But when Busquets and Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, they may never have a core as strong as that through their team for the rest of our lifetimes. So this is why I say for Liverpool, it's not just about buying well, it's who comes in to replace those individuals. Because in a player like Mo Salah, yes, he was poor in the final. Yes, he was poor in those games against PSG by his standards. But by and large, that man, I mean, he scored 40-odd% of your goals this season. I saw a stat that Tom Little put out yesterday. If you remove Mo Salah's goals this season, Liverpool are 16th in the league in terms of the contribution. Now, of course, some other players would have scored some of those penalties as an example. Other players on the right, if they were there, would have scored some of the goals that he did. But I don't think it would be I don't think you'd be hard pressed to say if you took Salah out for the entire season for Liverpool this year, where would they be? I reckon they'd be anywhere between 5th and 8th in the league. So buying right is Matt. It's going to be a very interesting season next year. There's no doubt about it. Keep him at Chelsea in that dusty 40k stadium. Luke Skywalker here says, hit the like a button and chat. Thank you for yes, everyone who's hit the like button. Thank you, but keep hitting it. Joshua here says, I'm sorry. There is no difference in what Scott is doing at Napoli to what he did at United. Terry, crashing the box and scoring goals. We just didn't appreciate it. Now we're going to say he's different. You're on mute, bro. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. I said spot on. I said he's doing nothing different at Napoli than he was doing at United. The issue is that at United, we were putting him in positions where we needed him to play a little bit more as a well-rounded midfielder, but all he did was chip in with goals. And now at Napoli, when he has people like Labutka and Gilmore playing behind him, and they're actually controlling midfields, and he's just box crashing and scoring the same amount of goals. By the way, he doesn't even have more goals this far this season than he did have with United last season. So he actually scored more goals with us. But people look at it now and be like, "Oh my God, why did we sell him? He's doing the same job." We just haven't improved our midfield. If we had a very good midfield,
I'm not saying
McTominay was just to come on and box crash. No one would have complained about it.
I'm not saying he's technically a better football player. You know your point you made, Staffy, when we played Real Sociedad, we were the physically stronger and faster team, and that really helped us. I find that Scott McTominay, as a physical specimen, is in a higher percentile than when he was in the Premier League. I feel that I think is why his game improves in that league, and I'm talking his overall game, because he's that little bit quicker, he's that little bit faster, he's that little bit stronger than your average bear in that league. And that's more the point I'm talking about. I think in Germany, for instance, for Jadon Sancho, it's not so much the physical, there's a lot of high lines and there's a lot of space to run into, and that's what he loves. When he's up against low blocks and he's being doubled up upon, and it's a lot of hard work, it's just, I'm going to pass it backwards and rotate it. In Germany, there's a lot more space and a lot more room for him to run into. So sometimes I think it's the phrase people use in fighting is styles make fights. And I think that Scott McTominay in Serie A in 2024, 2025, his physical attributes are one of the best in that league. In terms of the games I've seen him in, he looks on when I watch him, like, I weren't this fast for us. And it isn't that he's got faster, is that he's playing against more players that are slower than him. Where in the Premier League, it was maybe much of a muchness. And I think that's a really important component. But I do get the point the Super Chatter made. Just wanted to clarify my point a little bit more. Didn't people say the same when they lost the likes of Suarez and Coutinho? So look, again, very good point to challenge what I'm saying. I'm not saying Liverpool are going to fall off and be a crap team. I'm talking about winning the league a canter like you are this season. And yes, when Suarez left and when Coutinho left, but when Suarez did leave, go and look at your season. Go and look at your season the following year and look at the next couple of seasons after Suarez left. Would you have competed for the title again the following season if Suarez didn't leave in the summer of 2014? Yes. If you would have replaced Suarez with a striker as good, would you have maintained those levels? Could Brendan Rodgers lasted longer? High possibility. With Coutinho, I think there's a difference because when Coutinho left, you actually then went out and with that money, went and got the Van Dijks and the Allisons, which made you so strong at the back, you became a bigger powerhouse. So again, Coutinho, the recruitment after Coutinho from a attacking perspective, and then what you built behind him made you a better footballing team. This is different. You could be losing 3 players who have given you your greatest era in 40 years. Do I think you're going to become a crap team? No, let's not be polarized or hyperbolic here. Is it going to be hard to replace them and maintain the level you're at this season? Yes, but that doesn't mean you won't be in a title race. There's a fundamental difference and distinction in those two opinions. I'm feeling positive for a good summer transfer window for Arsenal, as Berta will be in charge of buying players next season. We will definitely get stronger as his track record proves it. That actually is a great segue into another big story that's come out today, that Arsenal, Nico Williams is closer to a move to Arsenal than Bayern Munich. A lot of talk, guys, that Nico Williams could become an Arsenal player next year. Is that the right type of move for them? Does it move the needle, Lawless, if he comes into Arsenal in the summer?
Do you know what? I'm so sick of this transfer story. And listen, I'm not blaming us for talking about it. It's a transfer. We're here to talk about the stories. But the fact that this transfer story has been going on for years now, I just either fucking sign him or move on. I'm just so tired of talking about Nico Williams to Arsenal. But will it move the needle? It improves Arsenal for sure. I think it will improve them. Will it be the X factor to get him over the line? Time will tell, because there's question marks on Arteta, and if Arteta's got to constantly have the perfect squad, the perfect team, everyone fit, then I think you need someone else. But it's taken this long. I ain't gonna believe anything on if this transfer is gonna happen. Do you know what I mean? So if he was desperate to go, there was a lot of talk that he wanted to stay at Barca. Barca have financial issues, I know, but I don't know if he's so desperate to join Arsenal. Otherwise, maybe
he wants to stay at Barca.
That was what the Barca fans were saying anyway. That was the Barca fans. Like every time.
We're talking about Nico Williams there, right?
Yeah,
sorry, not Barca. Who was the one we were talking about? He wanted to go Barca. He wanted to go Barca.
That's what I said. Join.
He wanted to go Barca. That's his dream move is Barcelona, but Barcelona couldn't afford to sign him. But yeah, man, like listen, it's has potential to be a very good signing anyway, and would improve because Martinelli ain't been it. Martinelli has not been it for a while. And boy, I was just watching the clip of AFTV in Turkish. Robbie in Turkish got a podcast, and they was reacting to when Robbie was talking to like troops and lead judges, and they were saying we would not swap Martinelli for Mbappe. If we got a chance to swap Martinelli for Mbappe, we would not do it. So, boy, like if you ask them if they wouldn't swap Martinelli for Mbappe, I'm damn sure they wouldn't swap Martinelli for.
Do you know what's interesting about that comment? I got it in the moment, although I disagree with it. Does that make sense? I would have still done it. That was in the season where I think he got 15, 16 goals. He was still young and he was really looking like his trajectory was doing this. And I understand the loyalty that people have. Like if I'd have asked you 10 minutes after Bowen scored that winner in that cup final for you, would you swap him for Mbappe? In that moment, you'd say no. Right?
Yeah, that in that moment, that's emotion. So that's different
so again, no, I understand that, but I swear when they did that bit of content, and I could be wrong, I thought it was in that period where they bursted into the title race and no one expected it. Martinelli was scoring all those goals. I might be wrong on the timing because again, I'm not chronologically filed it all.
It was about just over a year ago. I think it was
maybe. So maybe that's it. But yeah, they've definitely had that. I disagreed with it at the time. I remember doing a reaction to it at some point, but that's crazy. But what do you think, Don? Nico Williams to Arsenal, a lot of talk. There's been a lot of stories in the last month that the deals sort of will advance, that Nico Williams is open to the move. Barcelona are not really interested or can't afford him anymore. He wants to come to the Premier League. There are some people that think he's a bit meaty, that think he's a little bit overhyped, that he's technically not that good. He's a little bit of a sort of a Rashford-esque player, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you make of Nico Williams? And is this the right focus for Arsenal at this time?
Yeah, I think Nico Williams is a player that's obviously quite direct. As you know, he's young, he's strong as well. I've never really looked at him as that type of like a Neymar sort of profile, like quite flary on the ball. He's more just like you're saying, like a Rashford, where getting behind, take shots on goal and whatnot. But if he can bring GA to their team, that's what they need, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like Saka is the main outlet for them on that right hand side. Havertz, yes, he gets numbers, but let's be real, bro. The guy misses a lot of chances, right? So if they can add a little bit more GA on that left hand side consistently, it will help them. But I'm hearing that he's not had a great season.
How many goals do you think he has done?
This season?
Yeah, in the league. How many goals do you think he has in the league?
I'm hearing his GA has been quite bad this season.
No, take a guess. I'll tell you anyways. But how many goals do you think he has in the league?
Three or something like that.
He has 4.
He's got 4, yeah.
So Martinelli actually has more goals than him.
Martinelli has more than him. So look, it could be a bad season. I don't know the context of this guy's season because I've not watched a single game of his apart from when he's been playing for Spain. But I'm just saying, if they can bring him in and he can add the GA into the league and do that for them, it'll be a good move. But I'm not going to overhype him now and start talking about him as if he's a world-class player because he's got a big name. This guy's, I can see the potential and whatnot, but, let's see if he can do that in the Prem. That's the main thing for me, man.
It just depends how much it's going to cost. If he's, how much is he rumored around again, Terry? Because I'm not going to lie.
It's 250 a week or something.
It's rumored between sort of 40 and 50 million pound buyout clause. So he's not massively expensive for this era.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal. Around 40 or 50. Listen, if they're asking Arsenal to break the bank for him, listen, there's a lot of room to develop. The reason I mentioned his GA isn't the shit on him. I just wanted to state that he actually doesn't even have more goals in the league than Martinelli. So technically, as of this season, it isn't an upgrade. He didn't score more goals than him, but he does have a lot of potential. I think he is a better overall player than Martinelli, but it just the price has to make sense. If Arsenal fans are expecting someone who's a little bit more polished and ready, and like someone who's ready to come in and just lead the lines and just bag like 15 goals or whatever, I think that might be a bit of a stretch. You're back in that discussion again where it's like, are we buying ready now players, or are we buying players that will be ready over the next couple of seasons? That's where you find your situation in there, and that's where Arsenal fans need to decide how they want to move in this summer. Will you agree with that approach, or do you need someone who's a little bit more ready now? And if you do need someone who's ready now, who is that? Because Kvaratskhelia, as an example, he was there, but now he's gone. So you're not getting someone like him, you know? So, yeah, it would be ultimately a good move, but it has to be at the right price because he didn't have a great season.
No, listen, I hear that. I was just looking back at that clip. You're right. It was in the summer, so I remembered that wrong. But it was in July 2023, so it was in the summer after he scored those 15 goals. And as much as at the time I thought it was a pelter, I do have a slight understanding because he just got 15 goals, and I think most Arsenal fans, because even the biggest Arteta outers were massive supporters of Martinelli, and actually 18 months or so earlier were screaming at Arteta, why are you not playing him more? So I think when he hit that 15 goal season in the Prem, and what was it in all competitions? It might not have been that much higher. What was it in all comps? It was 50, just 15 Premier League goals. I think most Arsenal fans just expected Martinelli the next year to maybe get 18 or 20 as an example, but yeah, it was still I
remember speaking to you, Terry, about that. I remember speaking to you at the time. I said, bro, listen, these guys are still young, right? There's no guarantee that Martinelli will replicate that season again. I even said that of Saka. That's why I gave Saka praise, because I was like, at least with him, he's carried on with the GA, right? That's the GA. I've never debated about Saka's GA. It's everything else away from that, right? But when you talk about, football right now, anyway, like I just came off a pod with Goonie earlier, and I was talking about left wing options, because we're in a similar predicament where we need to replace Mudryk right now. Sancho's not cutting it, as you can see, he's a squad player, right? The only real options really that you've got over there, you've got Leao. I don't want Leao. This guy's so shit off the ball, right? He's so bad off the ball. You've got Nico Williams, you've got Lookman, yeah, you've got Semenyo, right? And obviously you've got Rodrigo, who's a dream, but I don't think he's going to leave Real Madrid. Other than that, I'm really struggling, bro. Then you're looking at the Matomas, you're looking at, who else is there, bro? Like some people are saying Kudus ain't a left winger, bro. He stinks on the left, right? It's just football right now. It's falling off, bro. That's why I like this shrewd. When you find a player that no one knows about, and all of a sudden they make a name for themselves. But unfortunately for us, bro, when that happens at Chelsea, people are gonna start complaining. I don't know this guy. That must mean he's shit. You know what I mean? So boy, it's the same for everyone right now. The pool of talent is meaty, bro. It's meaty.
Well, I think what you have a lot of players that are aesthetically pleasing on the eye. What there isn't enough, and it's just I find it ironic. There isn't enough delivery. There isn't enough output, and I don't enjoy the conversations of GA merchant or eye test merchant, but people fall into that category. But I just feel like, again, we look at Savio and Doku at Man City. The amount of times I've watched them play this season, where the skill is amazing, they put people on their ass and they cross the ball and it goes out for a throw-in. And I look at it and just think, for me, in my whole life, I've never looked at someone that does, and by the way, they could both turn out to be brilliant next year. But for me, I don't care if you sit 7 players on their ass in a dribble. If your cross or your shot at the end of it invariably is shit, for me, I don't consider you a good football player. I just don't. Because I think for me, that's not what a good football player is. It's like someone who can bob and weave brilliantly in the ring, but can't really land a punch and gets knocked out easy. I don't think you're a good boxer. I think there is more to it than just how things look. And there's a lot of that in football at the moment, where there's a lot of people that pass the eye test, but they don't deliver on the field of play. They don't create. They don't score enough. And when you're an attacker, I think it's fundamentally important. With midfielders, it's very different. If you're a number 6 and your job is to dictate play as a deep line playmaker, of course, I'm not going to overly focus on how many goals or how many assists that you got. But I am going to look at how well you retain possession. I am going to look both with the eyes and with statistics at how well you break the lines with your passing. I am going to look how good you are reading the game and intercepting the ball and how quickly you win the ball back when your team loses possession. And there are stats that back up what your eye is also seeing in these regards as well. But yeah, there's a lot of players at the minute that get a huge amount of hype because they take players on. And that's why I've never really understood the criticism that Mbappe gets. The man scores so many goals every single year. And you'll get people that slag it off. And I'm like, I'm not going to yield on this, being what I was taught by my coaches and teachers and parents growing up about football. Scoring goals is the hardest skill in the game. It's why strikers have always been paid the most. It's one of the most expensive. And it's the rarest skill in football as well. We mentioned it earlier. You can't really teach someone to strike a ball better. So if someone has the ability to strike a ball well and finish and score goals, you almost can't teach it. And the one thing, like Mbappe, he's got a different type of instinct to Haaland, but they're similar in the sense of it. The finite element of it is rare. Mbappe does this thing where he shoots so regularly before I think goalkeepers are ready, and he has the ability to almost. He thinks so quickly. It's his brain speed that I love. Where he'll come in on goal, and you always think he's going to he's going to take one more touch, and he's going to shoot to the far corner. But he shoots before you realize, and he goes for the near post, and the goalkeeper isn't ready. That there is just he has to have the ability to strike the ball well enough. But the instincts and the IQ in those moments is massive. It really, really is. And yeah, there's a lack of that across attackers in general. It's the amount of you know this, Staffy, being a United fan, the amount of times we have the ball in a good area, and then the decision from the player on the ball is bad, is horrendous. And that has nothing to do with technical ability. That's the IQ. That's the understanding. That's knowing what the right thing to do in that moment is. And I think there's a big mixture of that now in the game. That's a bit of a problem.
Oh, you're literally seeing it right now. Liverpool, bro. Listen, if you weren't for Salah, you know what I mean? Diaz, what's his name? Diaz, who else is there? Nunez and my man, Jota. Even Jota's been shit, yeah? They've got like 4 goals between them the past 40 games, bro. You know what I mean?
Right? 41.
I'm telling you, bro, everyone's got problems. Everyone's got problems. I'm telling you, some problems are bigger than others, but there's no one right now that's like, oh, we just need 1 or 2 players. Nah, blood.
It's funny, really, because scoring goals it doesn't fix everything wrong at a club. But again, if you had Isak in your team this year, Chelsea, I think you would have maintained yourselves in that title race a lot longer. Man United had an Isak this season. I'm using him as a case in point. We wouldn't be 13th. Even as bad as we've been in matches, I still think we'd be in around a European place, because a lot of those games, and people that hate United don't want to admit this, in a lot of the games that we've even lost, we've had chances to go ahead and to equalize or to win games, and we just haven't had that clinical edge as an example. And, you know, City this season, yes, the midfield has been run through. Yes, the defense has made mistakes. But there's been so many games where if Haaland weren't scoring or being created for, there was nothing else in it. And loads of those games they lost in that horrible 13-game run. They had the ball in the right areas. There was just no one to cross it or no one to finish it. So I get where you're coming from 100%. D King here says, excuse me, where is the Chelsea and Arsenal combined 11?
Those combined 11s are just flawed anyway, man. They're bare flawed. I was saying this in the group chat the other day. Like, if you ask a Liverpool fan if they're going to start Gabriel over Van Dijk, most of them will tell you no. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that Gabriel is not a good player and he's not a top talent, one of the best centre-backs in the world. Right? I don't like this combined 11 thing, man. I honestly don't like it. It only makes sense, really, when there's like a big drop-off in terms of quality. Yeah. Big drop-off. What I like to do is say, okay, these are the guys that I'll take for my club. Right? Like from Arsenal, I'll take Saka to start. I would definitely take their centre-back pairing to start, to be fair. And because of how shit our goalkeepers are, really, I'll take Raya. You know what I mean? I don't want the guy, but I'll take him. And I think straight away, you take those 3-4 players, our team's completely different now, Terry. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. Fans wanted to pay 120 million for Sancho. Thank you, Woodward.
Who?
Yeah, I don't know anyone who wanted to pay that.
Who English seller? Who wanted 120 for him? We rejected 95 for him. So where'd you get 120 from?
Show us the revenue. Show us the receipts, bro. And also said the same when they lost Klopp. They lose one of the best matches again. But I didn't. Again, I am not responsible for what other people have said. Some delusional people said that Liverpool would fall off. What did I say? And I actually got cooked for it. They'd be in a title race. Some delusional people said they'll fall off and they'll fall away. That was always a crazy thought because they're a well-run football club. So again, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. Some people said they were going to fall off like crazy. It's because nobody wants to look at football through the right lens on how clubs are run these days. Does Klopp have a better career than Wenger?
Ooh, I would say yes.
I mean, he's got a Champions League.
The Champions League is always that, like, it's the wild card. When you don't know how to win a debate or not, if you have that wild card, just use it.
Yeah.
Have a Champions League. There you go. Put it on the table. There you go.
There's two things. There's a Champions League win. He got to 3 finals, which is 2 more than Wenger. But he also in Germany, with a team that has nowhere near the financial clout of Munich, he retained league titles. And one thing with Wenger, he never retained the league title. So not retaining a league title and winning the Champions League, I put
the Champions League final as well.
Yeah, career-wise, Klopp is ahead of him. Premier League-wise, look, Wenger got 3 league titles. He did 2 doubles. He did the invincible season. I still think it's a lot of people would put Wenger above him in terms of Premier League, but overall career across all leagues, it's got to be Jurgen Klopp, in my opinion.
What do you think is a bigger stain, Terry? The fact that he didn't win a European Cup, or the fact that he didn't go back-to-back? Because I think it's actually more embarrassing for him that he didn't go back-to-back. Because Champions League at the time, it was very difficult. Like, you've never seen teams like that win it. It was very difficult to win the Champions League before this Real Madrid era that we live in right now. So that one I found a little bit more acceptable. I just felt like he had the best team for a while, or one of the best teams next to Fergie. And the fact that he never did a back-to-back, but I've seen Mourinho do it.
If you look at the managers that are put above Wenger in terms of Premier League status, Jose didn't win a Champions League here, but he did that back-to-back league title. Pep obviously has won more league titles than him. He's done 4 on the bounce and everything else. I think winning them, going back-to-back is a massive thing. The difficulty in remotivating the players for a following season, which is why Fergie's 2 3-peats and why Pep's 4-peat are just so spectacular, because motivating a team each single time is so hard. I agree with what Don said about combined 11s and Gabriel, but earlier this season, he picked Colwell over Gabriel.
This is what I'm saying in terms of comprehension, bro. Right? I said at that time, Colwell is not better than Gabriel. That's what I said. I said he's not better than Gabriel. Right? I would bring in Saliba to play next to my man, right? Because the way we build from the back, Colwell helps us start a lot of attacks. But obviously, if you're gonna play Gabriel and Saliba together at the back, bro, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that. I was just thinking of who can I take from there to help us improve and whatnot. You know what I mean? Arteta,
I don't think there's any.
Arteta, there's no. But they tried to make it out. They tried to make it out. Like I said, Cole was better than Gabriel. I never left my mouth once.
Yeah, but still, man, there's no context of where you have Colwell over Gabriel. Like,
of course there is, bro.
Would you still say that now?
Now? Oh, no. I wouldn't say that now, bro. I wouldn't say that now.
Well, there you go then.
I've lost patience. I've lost patience.
Okay, so it was wrong. It's fine to say I was wrong. It's fine to say that you was wrong at the time.
My thinking of how I wanted to set up wasn't wrong. But I'm just saying that I've run out of patience in regards to that. I never said Colwell is better than Gabriel. That's never left my mouth once, bro. Gabriel's.
He was just trying to find a partner to Colwell. I don't agree with it.
I was finding a partner for Colwell. The same way Colwell would play for Fofana. It looks a lot better, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I still don't agree with that. Like, any chance you get to beat Colwell and get Gabriel, you do it anyway.
I don't think Colwell's shit. He's just young and he shouldn't be starting the way he is, really. You know? So yeah, Gabriel, Saliba, bring both of them. Bring me Saka. Bring me Raya. My team's different, bro. Straight away.
Would you take actually while we're at it? Would you take Saliba or Konate?
Saliba, because he can stay fit, bro. Most of the time.
Would you take Konate or Upamecano?
Konate, bro. Don't mention that Upamecano guy to me, bro.
I mean, listen, if you watched the France game yesterday, you'd understand why I said that. Because that partnership of Saliba and Konate got cooked.
Got chef.
So, yeah, bro. 50-year-old Perisic was scoring on them.
I didn't watch that game.
Guess who was on the bench? Upamecano.
I had the Netherlands game on.
Yeah, this is why the champs, when he plays Upamecano over Konate, now you understand why. So
yeah, Konate and Saliba, they don't really have a good.
That partnership got cooked, bro. Yeah,
because Saliba plays on the left as well, innit? When he plays with Konate.
Yeah.
Joshua Jack here says also, Don, you can have Poch back. He's asked for the United States.
No. I read that wrong, bro. Enjoy him. You know what I mean? He's not out as well. No World Cup for you lot.
It's not the World Cup. It's the Nations League.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no Nations League for you. Sorry, man.
We're hosting the World Cup. The US will be.
You are.
Maybe a case of playing safe, knowing the media is lying in wait. Morgan Gibbs-White should be there for sure. Also, a lot of injuries in these areas. Sorry, I think we already did that super chat earlier, but I agree with that. Martinelli, main problem is looking up and seeing what's available, but definitely better than the Narco Mudryk.
Hey, man, free Mudryk, man. Free Mikhailo, man. Every time, man.
Where is he now?
No one knows.
Don loves him. Don loves him.
No one knows where he is, bro.
Don, do you know what I love about you, Don? You're the only person that can say, I was wrong to put Colwell in over Gabriel, but I was right in my thinking. Even though you've admitted that what you're thinking was wrong.
I think if Colwell and Saliba played together, I think Saliba would help him massively, bro. Right? I think it would help him massively. But again, like I said, I think Gabriel's a top defender. I'll take him at Chelsea. Facts. I'll take this guy in a heartbeat.
I love you, man. You're hilarious. I love you, man. I want to thank
Terry,
everyone.
who would you take? Hold on, before we go, who would you take, Gabriel or De Ligt? No, watch, I'm gonna catch him now.
That's hard because but De Ligt's been really good. So it's a much harder question than Colwell. Yeah. De Ligt's been really good this season.
No, but Cole was let's not do this. Cole was performing well at the start of the season.
Yeah, okay. Hang on, Don. I understand what you did at the beginning of the season, but we're talking about it now in March. And objectively speaking, you were wrong, and you've admitted you were wrong. But I'm being asked this question now, and I think De Ligt's had an amazing season. So it's harder for me. If De Ligt had been dropping stinkers, it'd be easy. I would still say, based on the consistency of the last 2 to 3 years, I'd go Gabriel. But it's hard for me as a United fan because I feel that De Ligt has been disrespected this year by the way he's been spoken about. I think, barring one game against Porto, where I think Amarodium cooked him in the first half, I think he's been phenomenal for us this season. Yeah, he dived in too early, and
You're taking De Ligt over Gabriel.
No, I didn't say that, did I? I said I'd go with Gabriel, but I'm just saying it's a hard decision for me as a United fan because I think he's been really, really good. But of course, I would pick Gabriel for the last 3 years. Has been phenomenal in the Premier League.
The correct answer should always be Gabriel, but I just wanted to know where you were thinking. I just know, like, Terry loves his players sometimes. I just want to see, like, where he's thinking.
You know what? Fuck it, bro. Listen, I should have never said. I should have never said that because now I'm actually deep in it, bro. Gabriel has been better than Saliba for a good 18 months. Ever since that World Cup, ever since that World Cup, when they came back from the World Cup, I'm telling you, Saliba was moving shaky that season when we came back, right? Gabriel was holding him together. Gabriel was big dog, right? If he goes to Saudi, Terry, if he goes to Saudi, so it's not even dentures no more, it's grills. It's going to be deep for these, man.
This is the thing. You've got one that's in his late 20s. The other one is still in his early 20s. That's Gabriel is the main guy. And look, comparing De Ligt to Gabriel, I didn't compare them. It was a question who would I take.
I read that word.
I will say this, right? I can't even read it.
And that's a nice word. In the questions. I want to use that one. That's a nice word, bro.
I want to actually read what it means, right? Wicked or sinful, evil. No, it means like an evil thing, an immoral thing.
It's basically like this.
The thing is that I was asked the question. Secondly, of course, I picked Gabriel. All I'm saying is that I am a Man United fan, and I drop my bias as best as I can. But the Man United fan in me has loved what De Ligt has done this year. So I have more love and I have more of an affinity towards De Ligt. So my gut reaction as a Man United fan is go De Ligt. The football fan in me knows that Gabriel is better than him, and I picked Gabriel. So I do get your point, but I didn't bring it up.
That's so true. That's a Simon Jordan word. It's true.
It is a Simon Jordan word. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned into the show today. A big shout out to Fan Team. Get yourself signed up now because we're doing the draft pick next week where you can win your share of £20,000 for the EPL Final Sprint fantasy game. It's going to be amazing. And everyone who deposits on their account will go into a prize. If you've got one already that you've already signed up for, or you sign up today, everyone who deposits in their account will go into a prize draw to win an Xbox or a PlayStation. You can choose which that is. But the draw or the draft draw next week, live here on Straight Facts is taking place. So get yourself signed up, get yourselves ready by scanning the QR code or clicking on the link below. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to sit and speak football with you all. Until next time, people, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all again soon. Peace.